Well, welcome to this short webinar on everyday voice of customer with SalesPrep. And the SalesPrep is the software and some cool tools that are really going to help with everyday voice of customer. So today I will go over some PowerPoint slides and give you kind of a big picture of what this is all about. And then we're going to dive into the actual brand new SalesPrep software as a service. It's got some really cool features where you can prepare reports ahead of time for your calls, any visit, and you can practice with an AI guide. And well, I'll go into all that a little later here. But here's the thing. If you've got some questions, you can put them in chat at any point in time. And Scott or Katie might just stop me and say, Dan, you better stop talking for a little bit because here's a really good question. Also, feel free to hit that raise hand button you see on your bar there. And Katie will send you a note. You have to click something and you'll be unmuted. So don't feel like you have to wait till the very end. If there's something, a burning question you want to ask, feel free to interrupt me at any point in time. Okay, well, having said that, I'm going to dive into these slides. Now, I'm going to go pretty quickly through these. But here's the thing. Scott, after we get the video produced and everything, is going to send all the attendees an email. It might not be till Monday. And it's going to have a link to the recording. Like, who wouldn't want to watch this again, right? Okay, maybe not. And it's going to have a PDF of my slides. So if I went a little bit too fast, I'm going to assuage my conscience by saying, well, you're going to have the full deck of slides in your hands by early next week. So having said that, let's get started. You're going to hear a lot about successful selling as I go through these slides. But also, this can be used by technical support, marketing, customer service, executives, anybody who wants to do a better job of understanding customers and their needs when they have a customer visit, in person or virtual. And so before I get into this, for those of you who are familiar with blueprinting, this is about developing new products with your team and going and doing these interviews using this probing method. There is something called key account blueprinting, which is the same as new product blueprinting, except you do it one key account at a time, and you actually do your market satisfaction gaps with them. So if you're curious about that, go out to our website, and one of the white papers is called Key Account Blueprint. It's kind of for sales, but applied to one key account at a time. So how does this fit? Now, what's this thing that Dan's going to cover today? Well, this is more for boosting near-term sales. It's routine customer visits. It can be any job function, marketing, sales, technical, and so forth. But here's the cool part. All of these use our what, why, clarify probing method. So whether you're doing new product development or you're trying to get a great relationship with the key account or you're gathering information every day, the what, why, clarify method is all the same across your organization. It's all about uncovering and prioritizing customer needs. So I'm going to be on the right side today. All we're going to talk about now is everyday VoC. But if you have questions on the rest, just let us know. So this new SalesPrep, it's really good to just go out to the website I'm going to show you and sign up if you're self-motivated. And you're going to be able to create reports before your customer visits, and you're going to take e-learning. And there's a really cool guide named Claire who you can practice your customer visits with. And it's pretty inexpensive. And we've never done this before, but it's standalone. We've always said you got to come to our workshops first. Well, now you don't have to. You sign up for this thing, and if you're self-motivated, you'll build these skills, you'll get follow-up emails and all kinds of stuff. Now, if you want to have your whole sales team or your whole organization that's visiting customers, you might want to do our workshop. Also, a lot of follow-up emails here. But everything that was included in SalesPrep is also included in this. It's the same as what we've been doing for a couple of years. There's the cost and so forth. So if you're thinking about how do I learn this stuff, you can learn it as an individual now. Never done that before. But you can also bring it into your organization. Okay. Now, here's what we want to talk about. To really drive success in selling or really anything else, we need to enter our customer's world. So if I'm a salesperson, I need to think a little bit less and talk a little bit less about my product line, my features, my service levels, and spend more time understanding customer needs. And we have some research behind this. 100 years ago, the psychology of selling said selling is a skill that could be learned, but it's a lot of left side stuff about my features, my products, how to close a sale. And what we found is in 1988, a huge boost to the consultative selling movement with the spin selling that said it's really about the questions we ask our customers. So the most successful sellers were really good at asking questions. And this was reinforced in 2013 with the Challenger sale. It said, you know, the best salespeople weren't just the relationship builders. They're people who know their customers' business and challenge them with fresh ideas. Now, we just completed some research a couple months ago. If you want to get it, go out to VoC4sales.com. And what we found was that, yes, indeed, probing skills do correlate with selling success. We found that the salespeople who had been doing this for like 3 decades or more were better at probing skills than the newbies. But we also found traditional sales training was not boosting these probing skills. And so that's why we put together the SalesPrep and the package you're going to see. Not that the traditional sales training isn't good. You need to learn how to negotiate and close a sale and do 100 other things. But somewhere along the line, the behavior change of asking good probing questions was lost. So we look at SalesPrep as a wonderful supplement to any other sales training you're doing. So our customers are not thinking about our product. They're hiring our product to accomplish a job to be done. And so they might hire our thickener to produce paint or something else. And within that, there are a bunch of customer outcomes: minimize mixing time, minimize recoat time, and so forth. And that's what we're going to try to improve. These are generally problems that need to be fixed. That's generally what we're looking at here. And we need to ask the right questions to understand these outcomes. Now, why does that lead to selling success? Well, now we know which product to recommend because we know what their problem is. We know which benefits to promote to the customer because they just told us what their pain points were. It's almost like cheating. And if I'm a salesperson and I can demonstrate my interest in them, well, they want to work with people interested in them. So those are the reasons why asking the right questions are so powerful. So think about this in 2 steps. First, we had to prepare for that sales visit, but it can be a tech service visit or a marketing call. Then we need to do good probing in the actual meeting itself. And so when we get to that point, this is where we want to understand the customer's desired outcomes. Again, generally their problems. And I'll show you the what, why, clarify method we use for this. Now, the sales prep is something that happens before the meeting, and it's got information in 5 different buckets that you see right here. Then these help us in many ways for the actual meeting itself. If I've been thinking about my sales quota and everything else, now I've been reading this report, I mentally shift to the customer's world. It gives me icebreaker questions to ask, and I can demonstrate my interest in them. It actually prepares me on likely problems I'm going to hear, and even gives me challenger questions. What about this? Are you having a problem with that? So for all these reasons, the preparation helps my actual probing. Now, how does it work? Well, first of all, you set up some information initially, your products and your customer's job to be done. Then when you're ready for customer visit, you simply enter the visit, the customer and your product and their job to be done or their application in. And then check out that report, make sure it's all set to go. And this just takes like less than 60 seconds for every time you have a customer visit. And I'll show you how this goes in a little bit. And you can view the report on your desktop or on your phone. So let's take a look at the phone. If you're on your phone, you would see news and trends. Great for icebreakers. Hey, I see you just acquired this company. I see you've got a new vice president. Common problems. You'd be prepared to listen for these and then maybe ask them, are you having a problem with this? That's where you go into our what, why, clarify mode. And then you can ask them about the process steps. Would you like to see anything faster, better, or cheaper? And then if you are not familiar with this company, you've got a really in-depth overview of the company as well. So these are all discussed more in our e-learning modules that come with this package. But there's a lot of skills you're going to learn with this as well. And it's in the e-learning. We also do it in the workshop. So let's talk more about the Everyday VoC Guide and what, why, clarify. So you start by asking some what questions. Could you describe this? Where does it take place? When does it take place? How often? Those are the what questions. Then you move into your why questions. Well, how does this impact you? What's the implication? So observation for what? Implication for why. You might say, is there anything else I should know? Then you move into clarify. Are you saying you want to minimize the time it takes to install this equipment? You're trying to clarify that. And when you're done, you start all over again, say, any other problems? So this is a very simple probing method. Now, for the what questions, we have some advanced probing called SALT. And so here you would get help with your what questions. You could ask some questions about the senses. What does that look like? What does it sound like? Actors, what people are involved, what equipment, location, where's it take place? What's the direction it's moving in? What size? Timing, what time, when does it happen? How often? How long? What's next? And then there's more here. Can you describe this problem? What causes it? And so forth. So very, very rich what questions would be part of your training that you get into as well. So we have these probing methods, but we also have things for listening. So we have a methodology called the PEAR method to make sure you signal you are listening. We have other tips on listening as well. And you go through some videos and see some poor practices and some good PEAR practices. And then you'll also learn to separate everything the customer says into outcomes, solutions, and backgrounds. And then I won't go into, but how do you deal with them when you hear a solution? What do you say when you hear a background? All that's part of the training. And then you'll get some practice on this in the e-learning, identifying what they're saying in some videos and so forth. And you'll also learn some powerful observation methods. We call it a muse. It's a way of accelerating, minimizing, upgrading, simplifying, and eliminating steps. So that's something else that we get into in the e-learning and in the workshop. And it's good for taking a tour of the customers or observing an operation, or even hearing a description, or maybe something that's not even physical, like what's your procurement process look like? Very powerful for all of these. Now, we also get into this. Some sales forces are a little weak in entering their notes in the CRM. And so we really encourage them to do this. It helps them crystallize what they've learned, helps them remember what they said at the last meeting, at the next meeting. It helps them recap and confirm to the customer that you're paying attention. But it also helps your business with something called market scouting. So this is a concept we came up with a number of years ago. Imagine this. You make glass for phone displays, okay? And you're wondering about crack resistance. Well, 30 years ago, they would say, I don't have a problem because the phone displays are so small. Then over time, they would anticipate a problem, they would see a problem, and eventually somebody comes along and solves a problem. In this case, it was Gorilla Glass from Corning, and then I don't have a problem. So think about this for a minute. If you come in too early, they're going to say, I don't have a problem. You come in too late, they're going to say, I don't have a problem. And this is a relatively universal cycle that I'm showing you here. So how do we make sure we come in the sweet spot, which is when they anticipate? Well, the only way I can think of is you turn your sales force into also a learning force. So they're out there like an early warning system, sending you these signals back. Now, this is what we call market scouting. So everything I've talked about up till now has been the benefit for sellers. They will increase their sales if they ask good questions. But if they ask good questions and record it in the CRM, the marketing functions can now data mine that and do a much better job of hearing weak signals before the competition hears loud signals. Now, how many companies are doing this well? I don't know of any. Now, there may be some, but I just don't know any of them. Okay. And they're not hearing these weak signals. Now, why is it they're doing such a poor job? Well, the reason is they have to do three things well. The first thing is they have to get whatever is in the customer's brain into the salesperson's brain. Second of all, they got to get whatever's in the salesperson's brain into their CRM. And third, they have to get whatever's in the CRM out into some actionable market insights. Now, times they are changing, as Bob Dylan said, and this part is going to get really, really easy, the data mining. Every CRM manufacturer out there is adding AI functionality. So if you got good stuff in there, it's going to find it. Problem is, most people don't have good stuff in there. And the first thing is to get it out of the customer's brain into the salesperson's brain. This is where SalesPrep will help. Because again, traditional sales training is not getting this job done in terms of actual behavior change. The next step is the weak link. This is more up to management at your company, getting it out of the salesperson's brain and getting them into, putting it into the CRM. It's more than a discipline issue. It's a priority issue. If we've only been rewarding our salespeople for selling and not for learning, well, we get what, every system is designed to give you 100% of what you get, according to Dr. Deming. So there's a lot here we can work with you on. If you bring us in for SalesPrep, how do we motivate people? How do we recognize people who are not just selling, but also learning? And then when this is all together, now we have this immense competitive advantage of hearing weak signals before the competition. So if you want to get into that report more, voice of customer for sales at research, check that out. And here's what's interesting. Of 12 voice of customer skills, sales people rated putting things in CRM as the least important, and it's what they rated themselves as the least proficient. But here's the funny thing. It's strongly, the ability or the practice of recording in their CRM strongly correlated with meeting sales quotas. And I don't think those salespeople knew it. In fact, we didn't know it until we did the research. So we have another reason to tell salespeople, don't just do it for your company, do it for yourself. And if you think about it, it makes sense. If I record things and I write them down, it crystallizes my thinking. I can remember for the next meeting. There's just lots of reasons why this intuitively makes sense when you think about it. So we can help you not only get it out of the customer's brain into your salespeople's brain, but we've got some research and some rationale for helping them to record it in the CRM. Last slide I've got. So start cooking up any questions you may have. And then I'm also going to go to the software and we'll have a little fun with that. So think about how we enter the customer's world effectively. We have to have good listening skills, and that's one of our e-learning modules that I'll show you. We have to have good probing skills, and we've got several modules that will help with this. And so that's effective. And then we have to have the skills to probe better. And so we've got the e-learning that covers that, and we've got an AI guide that lets you practice on this. And then we have to have insights. So this is where the report part comes in. So we also have a SalesPrep report. We'll show you how that works. And we also have the ability to observe their process. So you get a lot of insights from what's in the SalesPrep report, but also by what you observe. So this can all come together. We also have this AMUSE methodology. So this is kind of a systems approach. What I'm going to show you in SalesPrep, it's a system. And when you think about the word prep, it's really prep in two areas. Prep in information, what's in that report before I go visit the customer, and prep in skills. Can I take the e-learning? Can I learn better what will I clarify? Can I practice with Claire and so forth? So it's prep in terms of knowledge or insights and in terms of skills. So do we have any questions now that I should address, Scott or Katie, before I go to the fun part and start playing with the software?
Dan, I have a few questions in the chat.
Sure.
The first one is, we do sales training every year. Would
Yeah.
sales prep replace this training?
Great question. I would say no. Think about sales training that you're doing now as the fuel in the engine that drives growth. Now think of us as the accelerant, the STP, the fuel additive that gets even more horsepower and mileage out of it. So keep the sales training. There's some fine, broad spectrum sales training courses. But since our research shows they are not changing behavior change, add this in. And by the way, it's not surprising. Behavior change is really hard with the workshop. And some of those sales training courses do some great follow-up, but they can't follow up on everything. And so what we're going to do is expose people to this methodology either on our website or in a workshop, but there's follow-up that I'll describe, some 12 weekly sessions coming afterwards. And so we'll boost those skills. Great question. Any others, Katie, for now?
Yes. How is the interviewing method for everyday VoC different than interviewing for new product blueprinting?
Oh, nice. So there's a huge commonality here. And that is in both cases, you want to get to the customer's desired outcome. And they are usually problems. Now, what happens is if you are doing a new product blueprinting project, you're especially listening for problems that can be solved with a new offering, a new product, okay? If you're a salesperson and you're listening for problems in a sales visit, you're generally listening for things that can solve right now. But the fun thing is they cross over. You could think you're going out for a new product development interview and blueprinting and hear about lead time and some other things that need to be fixed out. You could be doing a sales visit, hoping to hear how you could meet their needs with something that's already in your list of products. And you could find some things that could be of great interest in a new product that's developed in 2 years. So the basic fundamental, what you're trying to do, understand customer problems, is the same. Now, the venue is often different. When you're doing new product blueprinting, you've got a team, a note taker, a moderator, and you're allowing a lot of time specifically for this exercise. When you're doing this sales prep and everyday VoC, what we're saying is you're there anyway for some reason. So listen for problems, ask if they have any problems, and maybe even suggest some possible problems. Just kind of incorporate that in as a standard practice. So you're still uncovering problems, but you may not have sticky notes in a conference room with a formal setting. You may be writing those down and putting them in your CRM. Hopefully that helps. But problems are common. Just how we go about getting them is a little different. Good. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't I jump over to the software? Let me get out of here. So I got to get out of that. And I am going to go into sales prep. Here we go. So Scott will put this in his email, but anybody at any point in time can just simply go out to salesprep.com. Not fancy. You don't even need that splash. Salesprep.com. And when you get here, you're going to see why this is important, how it helps salespeople. You're going to see the 5 parts of the report: company news, market trends, common problems, process steps, and company overview. So that will give you a little bit of an idea of what's in the report that you do ahead of the visit. You'll be able to see what our e-learning looks like. And if you have 6.5 minutes, play this video and it will preview what's in all 10 sales prep e-learning modules. They're about 6 to 12 minutes long, not too bad. Then you can learn a little bit more about how Claire works. We have a novice, intermediate, and expert level. And I'll do a quick demo with you guys. This part's really cool. And then you'll also see some resources you can download. Everyday VoC, some other resources. You can print them out and have them ready to go. And then you can see how to subscribe. Most people start with a 30-day free trial. And it doesn't take a credit card. Just go out there and you get access to everything when you do this, just like you've subscribed. And then if you want to do like an annual plan, it's $20 a month. And in a few more days, there will be a frequently asked questions section. This is all very new. We just launched this last week, did our very first workshop. So check that out on the salesprep.com. Now, when you log in, click this. And actually, hang on one second. I think let's do it this way. You'll click this 30-day trial. boom, right here, okay? You'll go in there and then you'll fill this in. And when you get here, here's a little tip. Put in 60 right there, okay? That will give you 60-day access as our thank you to you for taking the time to come and do this. So I thought of that code all by myself. I'm kind of proud of that. So just put in 60 and you'll be all set here. Now I am already in here. So I'm going to hit the login button here and just go in. Once you are in, you stay logged in. This is the dashboard. And keep track of how many e-learning modules you've done, how many practice sessions you've had with Claire. In a few more weeks, there will be a third section, how many reports you downloaded. We will have a certification program. So when you hit 10 e-learning modules, 10 practice sessions, and 10 downloads, you will now be certified in SalesPrep. And you get a thing you can put on a badge you can put on your LinkedIn. Okay. Now, there's a lot of things up here. Let me just show you this quickly. There is an e-learning section, and you can see in gray, I've already done that module. And here are the 10 modules. So once you've logged in, you can get a really good idea what's in all the e-learning. You can do a practice session with Claire, and I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. You can go into these resources and download PDFs and so forth. You'll also have a few different things you can do here, add your offerings and stuff like that. But I'm going to come back to this home page now, and let's see how we create a report. So let's imagine my company makes hydraulic cylinders, and I'm going to be having a call with Caterpillar and talk about how they use hydraulic cylinders in front-end loaders, okay? So I hit yes, I'm good on Caterpillar. Now, there's lots of different Caterpillars out there. We don't want Caterpillar paving I don't think we do. I don't know. Or butterfly. So I'm going to hit Caterpillar right there. So we got Caterpillar, hit the arrow, and we move on. And by the way, I guess I need to hit this next button. It's kind of keeping track. So I've selected my target company. Now I'm going to select an offering. And I don't have hydraulic cylinders in there now, so I'm going to hit the plus sign. And hydraulic cylinder, that's a component that's used in my customer's product. So I'm going to click that. And so it's a component. Let's see what we got. Fitting, bearing, closure. Yeah, good enough. We'll click that one. And then I'm going to just say hydraulic cylinder. Now you can set these up ahead of time. So you don't have to add these in every time if you want. And my customers make front end loaders. Okay, that's it. Oh, let's spell that right. Okay, and we hit add this offering. Yep, I like front end loaders. We're going to go with that. So you see I'm progressing on the right here. Hit next. And now it is creating a report for me. And so it's kind of busy right now. In fact, you might see some of these things are being filled in as we go. But in less than 20 seconds, it's going to wrap this thing up. And it's going to have company news about Caterpillar, market trends about front-end loaders and hydraulic cylinders, the common problems, leakage issues, seal wear and tear. It's going to have process steps for how you go about adding in, hydraulic cylinders to front-end loaders. And I could add other topics, but that's pretty good. Hit next. Now, when's my meeting? Well, let's just say it's going to be today, and we're going to have the meeting, at I don't know, 1 o'clock. Okay, whatever. I'll put in 1 here. Okay, we'll do it in the afternoon. All right, so that's good. We got that in here. I'm going to click that. Okay, so now we save and view the report. And it's not quite ready yet, but there will be a PDF version of this. You can see it on your computer today. You can see it on your laptop or computer, desktop. But there you see news and trends, company news first. Key market trends are here. Now we've got our common problems. And then we've got our process steps. And then we've got information on Caterpillar down here and so on and so forth. And this will just keep getting, they've got, their executives, a lot of leaders, their main products, how they're organized, their competitors, and their published strategy. And now, what's all this stuff here like? Listen, man. Well, if you take the e-learning, you'll learn about our listen, ask, suggest mode. You'll learn about our what, why, clarify. You'll learn about our faster, better, cheaper. And if you're on your phone, these tips will be there. So if you're in the lobby waiting to do your meeting, you'll be able to look at this and, oh, yeah, I need to do this. And so it's all ready to go for you. Okay, so I'm going to do an AI guide thing next. Anybody have a question? Hit your raise your hand if you have a question. Or Katie or Scott, did you have any more questions coming in before I go to the AI guide? Yes, Tom, please. I'll let you, Katie, get Tom signed in here with the ability to ask a question.
Yeah, hey Dan, thanks a lot. It looks like under company news that it only shows, I think, 4 or 5 items.
Yes.
Is it possible to have additional items that could pop up?
It is. I kind of rushed over this. In the preparation part, you can kind of decide if you want to have more or less articles in there. And so that will be something that we actually have now, but we're also looking at new company sources, Tom. And so the list is going to get more expanded. We feel right now, since we just launched it, the common problems, the market trends, common problems, and markets and process steps, the middle three are really strong. But we want to beef up the company news a little bit more, and we want to beef up the company overview. So yes, there are more, but there will be even more coming in the future.
Okay,
Great question. Thank you, Tom. Excellent. Other questions somebody may have. Now, if anybody, I'm going to go to, by the way, I'm going to go to the AI guide next, and I'm going to do a practice session with Claire, and I'm going to use hydraulic cylinders for front-end loaders. But if anybody else would like me to try it out on their product and application, raise your hand, because that's really fun, because you never know what's going to happen next. But before I do this, so think about that if you want to raise your hand and volunteer one, and we'll try it. But first, Katie or Scott, any other questions, or anybody else want to raise their hand? Are we pretty caught up on questions, Katie?
We do have 2 other questions, Dan.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I'm already a certified practitioner in new product blueprinting, how can SalesPrep help me to take the next step?
Oh, boy. If you are already certified in blueprinting, you have already learned the what, why, clarify. But what this will do with the practice I'm going to show you in AI, with the AI guide, Claire, it's going to solidify those skills. So it's going to be like just absolutely second nature for you. So your skills are going to get boosted, even though you're certified in blueprinting. The other thing is, if you are calling on customers from time to time, and you want to, in 60 seconds, prepare yourself mentally for that customer visit, this will be a great tool for you to do that with. Excellent question. And one more, I guess?
One more. What roles within our company can best benefit from SalesPrep? Is this only for sales?
So obviously sales is a big target audience, but you know, anybody who's visiting customers, technical support, marketing, product management, leaders, anybody who wants to engage those customers better. So let's say I'm in technical support. If I ask better questions, I'm going to get to the problem and understand the problem much better. I'm going to do a better job of solving the problem, right? If I'm a business leader and I'm really interested in that customer, asking really good questions, they're going to go, wow, this is the kind of supplier I want to work with. So anytime you need insights and engagement to be boosted, it's any customer service, any function. You could even argue that somebody who is not calling on the same customer all the time as a salesperson might be, maybe benefits even more because they are faced with new customers that they have to visit all the time. Excellent. Well, let me do this. I'm going to go to the AI guide. And if anybody has an example that you want to try, raise your hand now. But I'm going to select an offering. I don't see any hands going up. So I'll go ahead and we'll do hydraulic cylinders. Click that. And we'll hit the next button. And we only had front-end loaders in. I didn't have bulldozers and garbage trucks and everything else. So we'll put that in and we'll hit next here. Okay. And then the novice level, it actually goes through an entire interview and it plays three parts. It plays a part of the customer, it plays a part of Claire giving advice, but it also it plays the part of the salesperson. So I'm going to be the salesperson because I've already done the novice. I'll do this. So I am the interviewer right here. Claire, I'm the AIC, customer, is a customer, and Claire is going to be my coach offering advice. Am I ready to start? Yeah, I'm ready to start. Actually, I like that. Before I tell you about our products, so I'll use theirs. I could put something else in there. That's pretty good. So go ahead and click this button here. And you can see my question as the salesperson, DA, Dan Adams, is over here in blue. And my customer is thinking about my really insightful question. And the customer says, I'll blow that up a little bit. I think I can, hang on a second. Let me see if Control Plus, there we go. Can you guys do that? That's pretty good like that, isn't it? Yes, actually, we're encountering issues with the durability of hydraulic cylinders. Oh, durability. So it said I did a great start. Isn't that nice? I started, I uncovered the problem. So, okay, that's good. It asked about specific conditions. Oh, that's a pretty good suggestion. Can you tell me when you are seeing this problem? We'll try that, right? Type a little better. Okay, we'll put that in there and we'll see how the customer responds to this. And I won't spend the whole rest of our time with this, but I'll spend another minute or so you can just see how this goes, okay? And so he says, well, we typically see that problem manifest after about 6 months of continuous use when they're used for more than 8 hours a day in heavy lifting capacity. That's much sooner than anticipated, 6 months. Oh, so I asked a good what question, helps understand it. Next, consider asking about specific task. Okay, well, what type of work is being done to cause this problem? We'll try that. Okay. All right, we'll see. But by the way, I've never done this before with hydraulic cylinders and front end motors. So, I don't know what kind of problems there are either. So we'll learn. Which, by the way, brings up an interesting point. It's kind of nice to kind of mentally see this. They're used for moving large amounts of earth and rocks. Interesting. So, okay, now let's see what it says. You're narrowing it down. It might be beneficial to ask if any attempts to mitigate it. Yeah, that's not bad, but I'm going to ignore Claire. I'm going to say, can you give me some examples of this type of work? I don't know, because I want to get a little more granular here, right? Okay, so let's see what it says. And by the way, in the test mode, I have really pushed the customer a lot and never been disappointed. Constructing new roads. Oh, developing land for building projects. You got to clear the site by moving earth, digging, transporting rocks. Repetitive heavy lifting and precise control. Okay, so I can keep probing till the cows come home on the what, but I'm going to go to a why question. It says I could ask about environmental conditions, temperature, terrain. Those are great suggestions, but I'm going to move on to what just because we have limited time and ask a why question. How does this impact you? Okay, that's my go-to why question. And that's why I said about that blueprinting. You're going to have some go-to questions. It's going to get really second nature for you. I think my what, why, clarify probing has gotten better with Claire practice. And I kind of invented what, why, clarify. Okay, it's a significant, frequent replacements lead to downtime and increased operational costs. I like to know more about that downtime because that tells me what the value is. Can you tell me more about this downtime? Let's see if that's, maybe I should have asked how long the downtime is. That might have been a better question, but we'll try this. Okay. Let's see what we say here. Sure, each loader is out of commission at least 2 days, one for diagnosing and one for replacing. This is interesting. It could lead to significant project delays. Okay, so I could keep probing on this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a clarifying statement. And I could do it on a couple different things. But I'm going to hit that durability. So I'm going to say, so are you saying you want to maximize durability? And that's not great. Maybe because that's not real measurable. Maximize the time a cylinder can be used before maintenance is required. I'm not sure I did a real good job on that, but we're going to go with it anyway because I don't want to take too much time and think too hard here. I would like to spell correctly. Okay, I think that's it. Here we go. So let's see what it says. So that was an outcome statement, a clarifying outcome statement. It starts with the verb, maximize the time, And again, I think I probably could have thought of different. Exactly. Wow. Well phrased, clarified question, Daniel. Okay, so you got the idea. So that's it. Now I could hit goodbye. And it kind of wraps the whole thing up. And when I'm done with this, it'll give me some tips, on this. Now, the expert mode, it will not give me any Claire advice during the interview, but in the Claire mode, it'll give me advice at the very end of this thing. And so the novice, the AI plays all three roles. The intermediate, you just saw how that goes. And on the expert, I am just asking my questions. And later on, Claire at the very end is going to say how I did. So you've done a good conversation. You followed the everyday VoC. You did what I clarify, review it. Great job. There's a lot more in the expert in terms of advice because it comes at the end. But I asked 6 questions, explored 1 problem, why clarified questions. And then I've got here we go. A little bit more advice on how I could do a little better job with this. And then my strengths and my recommended e-learning here. And I can role play again. So that is pretty much it for sales prep. I'm going to stop sharing here. Any other questions? Or Scott, if you've got anything you want to add, feel free to jump in as well. But any other questions anybody has about sales prep, how it's used, everyday VoC workshop, that sort of thing? Okay. Well, this is great. Thank you so much for coming. We'll have this recording if you want to maybe pass it along to a colleague and let them see it. We'll have the PDF slides out to you probably early next week, wouldn't you say, Scott?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I'll mention real briefly is we are going to start having public versions of our 4-hour everyday VoC workshop. The everyday VoC workshop is 4 hours. You could add it on to a sales meeting you're having anyway. It could be in person. It could be virtual. So we've been doing quite a few of those private ones the last 2 years. Now we're starting to add in sales prep to that. But in the fall, we're going to have public versions. So anybody can come and sit in and see what it's all about. And they will get the 12-month subscription to sales prep and the follow-up emails and all that kind of stuff. Kind of a way for testing it out and seeing if they want to bring it into their organization. So that'll be coming in the fall as well. All right. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. We really appreciate you taking the time.